Well, I got 5 o'clock on my screen here, so I think I'm going to jump into the presentation. I just want to welcome everybody to the Diffley Road School Area Improvements Final Design and Construction Plan Update Meeting. My name is Chris Cromie with Bolton and Mank. I've been working with the county, city, and school district here for the past couple of years on developing roadway and pedestrian improvements for the Diffley Road and Braddock Trail area in and around the schools. I also want to recognize that we do have people from representatives from each of the agencies. I'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. I'll start with School District, Mary Thompson. Want to give a wave, Mary?
Yeah.
Trevor Johnson. Jenna, you want to go next? The county? Oh, I'm sorry. I see Karen. Karen, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. Hi, I'm Karen Dayon, Coordinator of Transportation for the district.
And Polly, Chris.
Okay, how about if we have all the school people introduce themselves first?
We'll start, right? This is Polly Rykowski. I'm the principal at Egan High School.
Hi, I'm Trevor Johnson. I'm the principal at Dakota Hills.
Hi, I'm Mary Thompson, School Safety and Climate Coordinator for the district.
All right, Jenna, you want to go ahead with the county introductions?
Sure, thanks, Chris. Jenna Favish, Dakota County Project Manager.
John Gorder, you want to go with the city introductions?
Yeah, John Gorder, city vegan engineer.
Russ Van, Public Works Director for Egan.
Tim Plath, transportation engineer for the city of Egan.
All right, I'm going to jump into the presentation. And maybe we should have handled this first on how to use Zoom in this meeting. I do have about a 20-minute presentation, 20 to 25-minute presentation. We do ask all the attendees to stay muted during the presentation. If you have comments along the way, please use the chat button that's down near the bottom middle of your screen. Your mute button also is important so that we're not picking up background noises and other things that may interrupt the presentation itself. So as I mentioned, I have a 25 to 30-minute presentation here, 25-minute presentation. And this is just to lay out what we're going to review here today and who will have presented. I'm going to cover some of the history, where we've been with the project and developing the project. Colin Harris from Alta Planning is going to talk about the Safe Routes to School planning update. And then I'll also cover the final project layout, the project funding plan, and construction timing and impacts. And then Ashley Hudson will talk about communication into construction and next steps. So I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of familiar names on the screen here. So I'll go over this rather quickly. But this construction project is a accumulation of planning and engineering work that has been occurring over the past 4 years, as well as, sorry about that. It's been occurring over the last 4 years, as well as collaboration with school, city, county, and state officials. As many of you know, public engagement has been essential in shaping this project. Over the past 15 months, there's been a lot of progress made, especially through the public engagement, with public information meetings in December of 19, February of 2020, online and in-person meetings in May, July, and September 2020. We had the student engagement just before the COVID pandemic hit in February and March of 2020. And of course, walking tours in May of 2020. The Safe Routes to School planning effort that kicked off in September or October of 2020. And Colin Harris, I believe Colin's on the line here, is going to take a few minutes to talk about the status of that planning effort.
Well, thanks, Chris. Good evening, everybody. I'm Colin Harris. I'm an engineer with Alta Planning and Design. And as Chris mentioned, we have a concurrent planning effort that's happening. It just started this past fall. I'm working with MnDOT on this planning effort, and also Tom Holmes with Zan Associates is working with us. But the Egan District 196 was awarded a technical planning assistance grant for a comprehensive Safe Routes to School plan. So in addition to all the Diffley and Braddock work, it's a comprehensive Safe Routes plan that's meant to include both infrastructure as well as program recommendations for Safe Routes to School. And by program, we mean things such as education, encouragement, evaluation, programs to complement infrastructure. So the plan is meant to be comprehensive for the schools of Northview Elementary, Dakota Hills Middle School, as well as Egan High School. And the plan will be completed by June of 2021. And Chris, on the next slide, is an overall schedule at a glance. So as Chris mentioned, the project was kicked off this fall, and that included a review of lots of the engagement that was done for the Diffley Road Area Improvements Project, knowing there was such a significant amount of work that went into the engagement and communication in that project. Tom and I, on behalf of MnDOT, spent time in the fall going through that in coordination with the Bolton and Menk team. Then we had a rapid planning workshop to kick off the Safe Routes to School planning. And Mary Thompson introduced herself. She's the team lead for the Egan Safe Routes to School team. So we worked with Mary to identify a core team of Safe Routes to School people to be on the team. And now we're in winter, so we're continuing with the coordination on the Diffley Road improvements, knowing that's going to be such a foundational part of what gets incorporated into the Safe Routes to School plan moving forward. Working on some additional engagement for that comprehensive approach to Safe Routes to School planning. Have a summary of issues and opportunities, and then have some initial action planning based on the future conditions of Diffley. In the spring, we're planning to do some more student involvement on the Safe Routes to School plan and develop a draft plan for prioritized programs and infrastructure. And then, as I mentioned, have a final Safe Routes to School plan by June of this year. Next slide. I know Ashley and others are going to share more of the update to the layout here, but part of what we're doing together in coordination with the Safe Routes to School plan is develop what we think would be the future Safe Routes to School based on the proposed Diffley Road improvements. So on the screen is a glance at what those future routes will be for the area immediately surrounding Diffley and Braddock. So you can see the orange lines being the future Safe Routes to School routes, blue line being a future community walking route, green dash line being a proposed campus path connection. And really, as we're going forward, we're sort of adding notes to this as we engage more around this layout and what's going to be possible for the future for students to walk and bike to school. Maybe I'll pause there for a moment, see if Tom wants to add anything else, or Ashley or Chris want to add anything else at this point, or we can come back to this later.
I would just add now that we have a program survey up on the Diffley Road website that is under the Safe Routes to School heading, and it will help us identify some programs that will help to supplement the infrastructure changes that are coming to Diffley.
Thanks, Tom. I believe at the end of this presentation, there will be a link or some more guidance for people to find where that website is. Okay.
What I'll highlight here, it'll save me some breath here in a later slide, is one of the things that's coming out of the Safe Routes to School and kind of the planning efforts coming together. As Colin mentioned, the crossing locations of Diffley, primarily the crossing locations on the west side of Daniel Drive and west side of Braddock Trail, where we anticipate the pedestrian crossing demands to be greatest, and the traffic control in the form of a warning flashing beacon that I'll talk about here a little bit later. Similarly, the crossing locations of Braddock Trail at Pennsylvania and Mentor are also identified as the safe crossing location, safe routes to school. So I want to give just a broad overview. And again, most of you know the project, so I'll keep it at a high level. But the project that's going to be constructed here in 2021 will include the new access road to Dakota Hills Middle School from Diffley Road at Daniel Drive. That's that connection that comes down the hill. It'll include pedestrian vehicle enhancements at each of the 3 existing access roads on Braddock Trail, as I mentioned, at Mentor in Pennsylvania, as well as the south lot entrance. It'll include drop-off and pickup enhancements in the south lot at Dakota Hills Middle School and High School. The enhancements that are planned in the east lot are going to be constructed at a later date for the high school drop-off. Project in 2021 includes reconstruction of Diffley Road from the Diffley Marketplace crossing over east to Braddock. And it will include reducing the roadway from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. Because of the new access road and the enhanced access conditions, we're able to spread out the vehicle and pedestrian demands such that the single lane in each direction can handle the traffic. It will include constructing single lane roundabouts at both Daniel Drive and Braddock Trail on Diffley Road. Also include roadway and intersection lighting through the Diffley corridor between Lexington Avenue and Braddock Trail. As I mentioned, there are enhanced pedestrian crossings and warning devices at Diffley Marketplace, as well as the Safe Routes to School locations. The Diffley Marketplace crossing does include a rapid rectangular flashing beacon and offset pedestrian crossing to help guide pedestrians in a safe manner across the roadway. This is just a closer view with a few enhancements of it. I do want to talk a little bit about the pedestrian activated rapid rectangular flashing beacons. We do have 5 of them being installed, 4 at the 4 Safe Routes to School crossing locations on the west side of Daniel Drive, the west side of Braddock Trail, and then at Mentor and Pennsylvania across Braddock, and then the 5th one at Marketplace. So essentially what the flashing beacons enable us to do, it does provide a push button control for the pedestrian that activates a flashing system, a warning flashing system to alert oncoming traffic that there is a pedestrian present, and to remind drivers of our state law that they are required to stop for a pedestrian that is given an indication that they're crossing the roadway at the crosswalk. Studies have shown that this does greatly improve and enhance the yield conditions for drivers and pedestrians. So we'll provide an enhanced crossing experience at each of these locations. This is just a closer view of the Diffley Marketplace crossing, again, between the retail center and the soccer fields on the west side of Northfield Elementary School. Here you can see an illustration of what that flashing beacon looks like with the pedestrian push button alongside the ped ramp. You can see that they will be located two in each direction of vehicle traffic, so drivers aren't going to be blocked from seeing them. And then the crossing and the offset within the median island, it enables pedestrians to get off of the roadway in a safe manner in the middle of the road. It also turns pedestrians so that they're facing the direction of traffic that they're intending to cross. It makes this crossing decision a two-point decision on their part, versus walking straight through the median and maybe not realizing traffic's coming from another direction. The Daniel Drive roundabout, and similarly the Braddock Trail roundabout, this is the Daniel Drive illustration of what that will look like. And you can see as drivers approach the roundabout, you can clearly see the pedestrian crossing prior to the roundabout to assess if there are pedestrians crossing. Pedestrians also push that button and they are able to see oncoming traffic from a distance. And again, they make a two-point decision to cross a roadway. They get across one lane at a time, get out to the center, the widened centered median, and push another button and assess traffic oncoming from the other location. So we are excited to have these enhancements at these safe routes to school routes as well. I want to move on to some of the construction aspects of the project. I know there's been some question about the impact to the trees on the school property in order to construct the new access road from Daniel Drive, as well as a new trail connection, a pedestrian bicycle trail connection from Braddock Trail down into the parking lot, separated from the vehicle traffic. And then we also have a stormwater treatment pond that will be going into the school site as well. So today there's about 14 acres of trees within this area that you're looking at here. We're estimated approximately 4 acres, or a little under 30% of the tree cover on that site is impacted by the grading for these improvements. The project will restore the areas impacted with a native woodland grass mix. There are no immediate plans for focused tree planting, but there is a strong desire by the school district to leave this area to recover naturally and not have a lot of added maintenance to the school site. From a project funding standpoint, the project is fully funded thanks to the bonding action that the legislature took back in October of 2020. That got us a $4 million state bond to fund the majority of the $5.3 million project. Dakota County has programmed a little over $1 million for the improvements. City of Eagan, just under $200,000, and Independent School District 196 has programmed just over $100,000 to fully fund the $5.3 million estimated construction cost for the project. We will have a cost competitive bid this spring. That is going to be occurring in March with desired award in April to the contractor with the lowest bid for the project. So I want to talk briefly about construction staging and impacts, timing for the project. We will be closing Diffley Road between Daniel Drive to Braddock Trail between June 1st and August 27th. The Diffley Road through traffic will be detoured using Lexington Avenue, Cliff Road, and Highway 3. We know that more than 2/3 of the traffic on Diffley Road, though, has origins or destinations adjacent to the construction site. So we don't anticipate all the traffic to be using the detour route. Rather, we have identified local access routes and timing of closures to accommodate access into and out of the neighborhoods. The commercial property at the retail commercial properties at Lexington and Diffley Road, as well as the school site. So this is just a zoomed in version here of what we'll be looking at this summer. The Diffley Marketplace traffic, this will be open to eastbound traffic entering from the west at the Marketplace intersection. Exiting traffic will go back through the site to Lexington Avenue. We are not bringing or accommodating the retail commercial traffic over at Daniel Drive. We will keep the Daniel Drive Marketplace entrance as a one-way in for the neighborhood to get into that site. The elementary school will have one entrance and one exit open at all times. We will keep the Daniel Drive entrance open until after the school year is done in June. But either the Diffley Marketplace or the Daniel Drive will be open to the elementary school throughout construction. The middle school, the south lot entrance off of Braddock Trail, will be constructed under traffic. So the middle school lot, the entrance and improvements will be done under traffic, one lane at a time. Work will begin in the south parking lot shortly after school is let out in June. The impact would have to get in and out of the middle school site could be down to a single lane where we would request or require the contractor to have a flagger out so that one direction could be going in and then flag the second direction out. Again, this will be done when school is out of session. The high school east lot and Braddock Trail entrances will also be constructed under traffic. So traffic on Braddock Trail will not be interrupted at these entrances. Again, it'll be one lane at a time. for the construction to occur and may require flagging. The neighborhood south of Diffley Road will need to access from Lexington Avenue or Lexington Point Parkway to and from the west, or Diffley Road, Trenton Road to and from the east. So for the duration of the closure for the roundabout construction at Daniel Drive in Diffley, that intersection will be closed to traffic, and as well will be the Braddock Trail Diffley Road intersection. We anticipate those intersections to take up to 12 weeks for the construction of those roundabouts. Full closure of Diffley is necessary to complete the construction within the schools out timeframe. We really only have about 3 months to get the heavy construction done and commit to that August 27th reopen to traffic, so that as school resumes session in the fall of 2021, the majority of the construction work is complete and all the roadways are open to traffic. So again, just a snapshot here of the construction timeline. Construction activities will begin prior to the closure in May. Likely will be some removal items. Some of the tree clearing is the first step in the process. So we anticipate that work to begin by the middle of May, so that when school is out and the full closure goes into effect, we can essentially hit the ground running with construction activity and get in and out as quickly as possible. Ashley, you're going to talk a little bit about what else folks can expect through the construction season.
You want to go to the next slide? Yep. So during construction, there will be communication around what's to be expected, even in more detail as we get closer, and how things are progressing and updates being provided throughout. So really that information is going to look like updated access maps of what's open, what's closed, what the time frame is around those closures, to help give a look ahead, not only in, what are my routes now, but what are my routes going to be a couple weeks coming up. And that information will come from getting weekly updates, the project team getting weekly updates from the contractor, and them helping us understand what those access maps look like for the time being. And how that information will be shared, we very much anticipate initiating construction with a mailing, and sharing that, that time frame is starting soon, and then continuing to use the project website and the email updates that have been used throughout the study and the design of the project. So one of the best ways to really stay in tune with this information coming out is being signed up for those email updates, which I would assume majority are, but just remain signed up for those, and also share with others that it's good to still be signed up for those updates for construction information to come out. And so to really just talk about what's next, as we now very shortly are going to conclude this presentation, just want to really talk about how to ask questions and provide some feedback. The purpose of today is to, at the conclusion here in a minute, is to anybody who feels comfortable to unmute and ask questions or use the chat box. We very much welcome that. Also, there are opportunities to provide feedback and view project information on the project website. So we have 3 virtual meeting opportunities set up this week, this being the first one of them. We will be uploading each recording to the project website so that you can go back, look at the information again, or anybody that was unable to make any of these times can have those recordings and get the project information at times convenient to them. And then the project website also includes a online comment card as well as project contact information to provide questions, provide feedback. And we are looking to really conclude that project or that public comment period February 15th, in which then after that you can, as you've seen throughout the project, you can expect to see a summary from the project team of what we heard and next steps. So with that, I guess I would just like to remind everybody is watching for updates on the project website and remain signed up for email updates. And I guess at this point, I would like to open it up to any questions or comments for the project team.